Right.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to the Finance Committee meeting, March 31st, 2026. It is now 6 p.m. We'll do a roll call starting on my left.
Jim Booton.
John Moran.
Shelley
Joe Ponzetti.
Brooks.
Joe Ponzetti.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Shelley.
Shelley Brooks. Janet Gilmore.
Yeah, we have a full house. A quorum being present, I call the meeting to order. Our first item of business is the approval of the March 24th, 2026 minutes. Hopefully, everybody's had a chance to review those.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Minutes are approved. New business. We had tabled a couple of items at our last meeting, and I think this summation of the budgets this evening should conclude pretty much all the items we need to put on the warrant as budget items. Dick, do you want to start and present the, I don't know that we need to do the budget totals, but we'll start with administration.
Yep, I can lead you through the changes that we made. Administration was changed. The select board, you did not see this, but the select board had in the wage category a increase in their stipend, and that was removed. Basically, that's it under administration. It was a change in the salaries. Yeah, excuse me, say change in wages, right, Mary? Yep.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So outside services, is that 40,000? Is that the outside bookkeeping service, payroll service?
Let me take a peek.
Admin?
I believe that was there. Mary, maybe you can give me something
Yeah,
more.
that's a payroll service, and also using that service, which we specifically chose for their human resource component, because we'd like to get a employee handbook done.
Okay. Okay. The only reason that I asked, because the last meeting, 2 meetings ago, that was in 2 different budgets.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's now out of operations and only in admin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we had approved the administration budget back in February 24th. These are adjustments made, as Dick has described, and Don has referred to. So they're really just administrative redesignations. Do I have a motion to accept the administration budget as revised?
Move to accept as amended.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
Assessing. This is also one that has been revised. It was first approved March 3rd. Dick, you want to give us a rundown
Yep,
on why this is
The
revised?
changes in assessing were essentially that we moved $6,000 in wages from code enforcement, which is where Tammy, who was the assessing assistant, spends most of her time. But to satisfy some concerns, 6,000 went into assessing, 6,000 came out of code. It was a neutral change, just a transfer of what account was being charged.
Okay, with that explanation, do I have a motion to accept the revision to assessing?
I make a motion to accept the change to the assessing budget.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Operations and maintenance. This is also a revision. We approved it on March 10th. And Dick, you want to give us the rundown on the,
I will. I want to thank, first of all, I want you to look across the room and thank Mary. She was the one who was digging and pulling all these numbers together on a second look, and I credit her for this. She said, something doesn't look right. The LP gas latest payments were much higher than they had been in prior years, and the electrical cost had gone up as well as the summer season ended, and lo and behold, that's only because we're sitting at about 3+% times what our prior facility was. So we're cooling and heating a much larger space, so we made adjustments to accommodate that for the months going forward. And that is the change in its entirety. Right, Mary?
And for like the summer months, it's our best guess. We don't know what the summer is
we
going to
don't
be
have
like. If we have a really hot summer, we're going to be using the air a lot more. So we just went probably a little higher than we needed to, but we didn't want to run out of money.
Yeah, so that's the electrical cost line item, 17,000.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the revision?
Move to accept.
Seconded.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 The next item is paving, and I think we need to take a look at this budget. The original paving budget was for $247,100. The revision is asking for an increase of up to $437,000. So it's quite an increase, almost $200,000. Dick, you want to do a little explaining before we?
Well,
have our
that came out of the
comments?
workshop with the select board, and it is on the table for discussion. I will tell you, I'm personally opposed to it. I think we should have opportunity to consult with our road commissioner. I did very briefly on his return from vacation, and I think he too would like to be able to sit down and discuss the process, the plan, and in part, there are things beyond just paving, such as I'll call them evaluations from boring samples to make sure whatever paving occurs on new surfaces, new gravel surfaces, dirt surfaces are suitable to accept paving. So it's not just a matter of just paving. I think this amount won't take us very far relative to what maybe the whole process should be. So I would recommend personally that we postpone this and move it to a date when we have the opportunity to have a full discussion beyond this budget season.
Okay, do I have a motion?
For what?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to the proposed revision in the paving budget. And my motion is we reject the new amount of 437 as requested, and that we stay with the approved budget back in February 10th that we approved for $247,100.
I second the motion.
Any discussion? Don?
So members of the select board here, I'd be interested to hear from them as to why the $437,000. I mean, $437,000 is not going to go very far at the price of oil. Hot top and stuff is going to be very, very expensive this year, so I'm curious.
So it was a proposal to start working on some of the dirt roads, and the specific road that they were looking at was Bean Street, which is paved, to look at that section and maybe rebuild it and start gradually putting pavement on the dirt roads. And I personally feel like we need to sit down and evaluate what dirt roads we need to do and get a good feeling on how much that's going to cost us in the end, and do we need to get a bond or something to do that?
What precipitated this thought that the selectmen would pursue an increase of approximately $200,000? Did they have any information that we do not have?
No, they didn't.
So they just decided that on a whim.
But they
that-
wanted to start, working
would-
on the paving, and what it did to our overall budget was an increase from 9% to, if you included that, to a 12.4% increase.
But they did not do that with any other information. They did not do that with the information or
Not that I'm
planning
aware
of
of, sir.
our road commissioner. No other further insight than just an inclination that they should double the budget number.
Yes, sir.
And I would vote no. But we,
I mean, I think eventually we do need to look at some of those dirt roads and get them upgraded to, pave. I mean, a lot of them have lots of houses and stuff. But I think we need to get, engineers in, evaluate what the condition of the roads are now, what it's gonna cost to upgrade them, and come up with maybe a different plan.
I would feel better if that's the procedure that you would follow.
Yeah, I'm with Joe also. I mean, doing this without a plan just doesn't seem to be
Right.
a prudent spend of taxpayers' money at this point.
And I had a problem with the 12.4%.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, do we have any further discussion?
So what's the vote again?
The vote, the vote is to reject the newly submitted paving budget and go back to the one that we approved back in February 10th for $247,100.
Thank you.
If I may, it's important to remember that was a recommendation. It was not there was no vote taken on the select board. This was a workshop, so it was a
It was a workshop.
recommendation.
Yes, okay.
And
that-
the one that we originally, that you originally voted on was prepared by Rob, and he has specific roads that he has on his list for
Right.
paving this year. Like last year, Haley was on the list, and I don't know which roads are on the list this year, but he generally has a plan of which ones he's gonna pave and why.
Okay, well, the motion is that we reject the new budget amount and stay with the original budget that we approved. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Insurance is a new budget item. Dick, you want to,
Well, this is
Repeat
actually
that.
a revision, and I give thanks to Roger for pointing out in the workshop that our fiscal year is 6 months off from the calendar year, and the insurance provider adjusts their rates on the calendar year. So we will be 6 months beyond existing. At his recommendation, a small adjustment that has been noted on the insurance file, insurance budget, is to accommodate any move after the calendar year in the 6 months that remain on our fiscal year.
So this is anticipating a budget increase.
Anticipating a second increase.
Insurance increase.
Correct.
In the next calendar year.
Because if you remember, last year in 24-25, we were 36,000 over budget for insurance because of that reason, because he wasn't aware of that at the time, that they made a January adjustment. And a lot of times the adjustments aren't down.
okay, well, the budget that we approved back on March 10th was for, I believe, 596,800. This is a revision for that anticipated 6 months that would not have been covered if we don't take into account that possibility of an increase in insurance premium for those 6 months. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Do I have a motion to accept the new budget as revised for $608,164?
So moved.
We have a
Seconded.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We do have one other item that Dick asked me to put on the agenda. And it was a little bit of an oversight that we didn't get a chance to have this budget item as an individual item presented to us. But it's for the Saco River Television, and it's for $21,800. Dick, do you want to just give us a quick rundown on?
It's always been included in the non-municipal budget, and we discussed this year taking it out of the non-municipals, which we did. The letter we had in the file says 21,800 or 21,580 or something in that range. It's very, the number that we had set aside for the budget is included in my totals, but we just never addressed it separately from the municipal, non-municipal accounts that we had previously included it in. So it was part of last year's budget in non-municipal. We said, let's take it out, treat it separately. Everything was done except bringing it to you as a separate item. So we would ask for your approval for the same thing that we've done every year, just as a separate warrant article instead of one included in the non-municipals.
Right, so we've already really approved this in the overall budget. And I believe that number was actually reduced from the previous year.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I believe that was reduced from the previous year, the 21,800.
It's slightly down.
It was down
Yeah.
a little bit.
Shows 2 years of 21,800.
Excuse me, Don?
On this total budget that we have here,
Yes.
it shows 25, 26 at 21,800 and 26, 27 at 21,800. No
Let
increase.
me find the letter.
Okay, so it stayed the same.
All right, no increase.
Yeah.
So what we are, or what Dick is asking us to do is to approve this, even though he hadn't, given us a separate warrant item for it. It's, if we can, it's already in the overall budget. If we can approve it, he will give the backup so that it can be,
It's in this
closed out.
total sheet,
right.
but not in a separate budget page, and we will address that accordingly. And Bennett has already been notified and was preparing the warrant article accordingly in anticipation of a
Okay,
positive vote.
so we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, do we have any public comment? Mary?
I just wanted to remind everybody that maybe about a month ago, you approved us using some of the some of the $200,000 funds to cover the rest of our costs for administration and ops and maintenance. We were going to move $15,000 to lawyer fees to legal for the rest of the year. And we are now with administration, we have about $9,000 to last us through June. So we're going to be moving some of that money. You had originally approved $60,000 for us to move where we needed it to cover the rest of the year's budgets. And a lot of that is our increased electric and propane costs that I guess we didn't budget for the new building. So I just wanted to remind you that you guys had already said okay to that probably a couple weeks ago or
Correct.
a couple meetings
Yes,
ago.
we did.
So I just wanted to remind you, because we'll be working on that probably the April 15th meeting to, move some money.
Okay, any other further comment, public comment?
I have a question.
Yes.
Isn't it, it's not unusual, is it, to have a contingency fund?
Is it not unusual?
Is it unusual for towns to have a contingency fund for situations such as overdrawing?
Not from my experience.
No, it's not?
No, it's a common existence because of the moving target we have oftentimes throughout the year.
But we don't have it.
Well, we do. The select board has one.
The $200,000 is sort of a contingency fund for us to use in emergencies or unexpected events. So, but we generally, according to it, we have to have unanimous approval by the select board and then approval from the finance committee to use that money. So that's the money we used with the salt, not sand, but salt, this year, and we're going to use some more because electric costs and propane costs have just driven our budget out of sight.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually, we don't usually take any money from there. I think last year we took a little bit for the windows, and then we had some staffing adjustments. We moved, Al Scott, our maintenance person, went from 25 hours to 40, so we had moved some money from that fund to cover his increased salary for this year. So.
Just a question on that. So do we, is that part of what we approve?
No, it's not, Jim. It's an uncommitted fund of $200,000, and it is not part of our budget. It's
In the warrant, written as a warrant article,
Only, yeah.
that we
okay.
have the right, the authority to use that money in an emergency, but we have to get unanimous approval by the select board and approval by the finance committee.
So if it's not used, does it go back to the general fund? Is it appropriated? It is appropriated
It's
because
never-
people voted on it.
Yeah, they've, I think they just voted on us using it out of the operating funds.
Okay.
So I don't think it was voted on.
the way,
As
the
an
way
additional-
the ordinance was proposed, or the way the ordinance is written as of last year.
Right.
It was written as a separate warrant item,
Right.
and it was a $200,000 unappropriated fund, and that fund had to be, like you say, unanimous with the select board, as well as go to the finance committee for approval.
Right,
And so it wasn't a budget item, it was
Right, it's
an
just-
ordinance.
right. So it's money that we have in our operating fund that we can move back and forth. But the taxpayers don't get taxed for that amount.
Okay. That brings us to next meeting. Well, this.
Joe, I wanted to talk about something quickly.
Oh, please do.
I don't know if this is the right opportunity to talk about this, but I thought we maybe could talk about the planning for these meetings next year, and maybe have a better plan for them. I don't know how the other committee members feel, but I would rather have longer, less frequent meetings, rather than 15-minute meetings every Tuesday. I think that would be more productive. And I know that, like, there was a lot of moving parts, and you're new and you're trying to figure it out this year, and I totally get that. But I just wondered if maybe there could be a workshop or
Well,
something to,
I think we're on the same page, Shelley, because what I was going to ask is that between now and our next scope of work, that we do arrange through the town manager for a workshop. And I think that workshop needs to be something that helps us with the cost to date versus budgets, our cash flow analysis, cash accounting and balances, and other reports that this committee may need. And also, I think that workshop that I'm asking the town manager to put together for us should include the select board as well as the town treasurer. And I think together, we should address those items. And we need better reporting, we need more reporting, we need timely reporting. And I think that would help make our meetings more productive. I think it would help the town manager because he needs to get information. He did, I think, a fantastic job with what he was provided to get us budgets this year. A very difficult process. And he being new to the position, had to do a lot of work, had to do a lot of scrounging in order to put these budgets together. And that's not fair to him. And also the select board, we have a great new form of government. We have a 5-member select board. We have a town manager. And I know we can do better with this form of government. We won't have the transition, we won't have the turnover that we've had in the past, and we can really develop some leadership and some planning. And this is the time, this is our opportunity to do that. So I'm asking Dick to put together those workshops, or workshop, or whatever it's going to take for us to do that over the next several months. But also, we have to provide for our quarterly reviews. It's part of the obligation that we have as a finance committee to review quarterly the revenues and the expenses. For us to do that, we also have to have that reporting. We have to have that information. I'm proposing that our next meeting be sometime early July, and that we start our first quarter in June, when we end our first quarter in June, that we start the process of reviewing quarterly income and expenses for the town. This town has a budget of $12 million, and excluding the school budget, this town burns through $500,000 a month. $500,000 goes through our books every month. And that needs to be well accounted for. And it's time for us to grow into the position that we were appointed for. And to do that, we need the information that we're going to work with the select board and with the town manager, and also the treasurer. The treasurer is a big part of this. The treasurer needs to be brought into these discussions. And if we can do that in a workshop, I think we'll all do better.
If I may.
Yes.
I have already reached out as well to our auditor, who may be able to provide some background with regard to what he sees. He does 90% of the towns in Maine, and he could bring us samplings of what possibly he sees in other towns and the steps that they have taken, the years that I spent in another community, both on the select board and in the finance committee, were handled remarkably different than we just went with the exercise we just went through. I fully agree with you that we should be putting more meat on the table every meeting as opposed to less and more frequent meetings. But I also would ask that, and shame on me for not asking the select board to join us in an official fashion. They should be here too. Having two discussions at one time is certainly more, I think, more business-like and solution-oriented than having two separate discussions and trying to bring them back together if there are differences of opinion, such as the paving discussion. I think things will be a lot more even-keeled next year now that I have an idea of where everything is hiding, and then maybe we can unhide it and put it together in reports that make some sense, both on a quarterly and even on a monthly basis for me.
So Dick, that would be, and I agree, if you can have the auditor, that would be very helpful. So as far as our next meeting, certainly we will have one in July to review our first quarter. And I think that whenever you can work with the select board to start the workshop process, let us know, and that'll be a date to be announced. And we are happy to work with you and the select board. And let's see if we can't get a handle on this and make it a little bit more productive for next year.
You got it.
That being said, I make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Thank you. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, everyone.